From San Francisco, California, it's Cardinals baseball from AT&T Park. The St. Louis Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants in Game 2 tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. That's Al Hrabowski. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to the broadcast booth. Delighted to have you with us. Of course, we've got great pitching, as the pregame show led you into, talking about Barry Zito and Chris Carpenter here tonight. One right-handed, one left-handed, and also a couple of guys that have won Cy Young awards. So looking forward to this matchup tonight.
Well, let's see what's happened to them since they won their Cy Youngs. You see Carpenter 17-10, good ERA. It's just he's been injured several years. And then Barry Zito, after his great Cy Young year, he's really had problems winning, but the biggest problem has been lack of run support. This year he's got the fewest run support in the major leagues, and he's 1-5.
How about Carpenter? What has made him so spectacular here at the start of this season?
Well, it's his whole presence. When he is healthy, he is absolutely dominant. He's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Yes, he has that tremendous curveball, but the cutter coming in on you, and it's just that mound presence. He's a force.
All right, Barry Zito and Chris Carpenter, the Giants and the Cardinals. Albert is in the lineup. Our first pitch and starting lineups next on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. With just the right taste, it never fills you up. The difference is drinkability. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Auto Tire. For the lowest prices in town, we shop the competitors so you don't have to. And by Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. We see some red in the seats here in San Francisco at AT&T Park. And a look at the Cardinals lineup with Brendan Ryan now in the leadoff spot, followed by Duncan and Pujols, Ludwig, Molina, and Keel. Barden, Carpenter batting 8th, and Skip Schumacher flip-flopping, and he'll be in the 9th spot. It was Ryan there last night against Barry Zito. First pitch lined into left field for a leadoff base hit. He didn't waste any time. One pitch and a base hit.
That's the way it should be. You don't see him wait around a lot, and he got that first strike and was ready for it.
Our Marshall Wireless starter, Barry Zito, for the Giants.
Well, he's 1-5, but actually one of their better pitchers this season. He's getting the lowest run support of any starter in baseball.
And it brings in the left-handed hitting Chris Duncan. Duncan is hitting .257, 4 home runs and 26 RBIs. We mentioned it last night that he has quit using smokeless tobacco, and apparently some of the other players have followed suit.
Jeff Murphy's bullpen catchers, one.
That's good to see. It does set an example for youngsters that are tuned in and watching the game that you can break the habit, and he's not dipping anymore. First pitch to Chris Duncan, a strike. Albert Pujols on deck, who had a couple of base hits in the ball game last night. And an 0-1 pitch to Duncan here. There's that big off-speed pitch. You know, when Barry Zito won the Cy Young Award, he was throwing in the low 90s. He could get it up there to 94, and he had a very, very big, sharp breaking ball, that 12-6 curveball. But since he's come to San Francisco, admittedly, and he'll tell you, the pressure of the contract got to him. But this year, as you mentioned, Al, he's been a different pitcher. Another check on Brendan Ryan.
Well, it's just natural that you get a 7-year, $126 million contract, the largest ever by a pitcher at that time, that you put an awful lot of pressure on yourself. Then you go from across the bay from Oakland to San Francisco. A lot of those fans resent you. You know, it really is a rivalry between these two cities. And, you know, he comes over here, and they said at one point, April and May, they thought he might even just quit. He was so down, but he's fought his way back, and you know, he's pitched very well at home. Team is 3-1. He's 0-1.
And that's tapped foul. Barry Zito is 30 years of age now, born and raised in Los Angeles, California. 3-time All-Star in 02, 03, and again in 06, and the Cy Young Award winner in 2002 when he went 23-5 and had 229 innings and a whole lot of strikeouts too.
How about when he gets 4 runs of support? You know what his record is? 106.
That's amazing. Fly ball out to left. Fred Lewis makes the catch. It's where Barry Bonds used to play out there in left field. And now it's Fred Lewis's spot. The Giants defensively, and they really like their outfield with Lewis, Rowan, and Wynn. A spacious outfield in this ballpark. Juan Uribe, Edgar Renteria, Emmanuel Burris, and Pablo Sandoval. Barry Zito, Benji Molina, the Auto Tire defense for the San Francisco Giants. So as we mentioned, Pujols coming off a 2-hit night. Very easily could have been 4 for 4 as he was robbed at third by Uribe late. And his first time up, hit one to the track and center. Protection behind him now with Ludwig, and the Giants yesterday went right after him too. He was getting pitches to hit.
Well, that's what's good to see. You know, he was walking so frequently because the Cardinals put bodies in that 4 spot, but nobody was really respected by the opposition, so they just walked Albert and said, okay, you beat us, and it really didn't happen. But with Ludwig back, they are showing respect and pitching to Albert.
Good numbers for Pujols with a home run, a strikeout, and a double. 4 for 7 against Barry Zito. And here comes a 1-0 pitch. Zito now, they say his fastball can top out at around 89 miles an hour, consistently at 85, 86, but then that breaking ball is really slowed up, so you have to stay back.
So if you probably gives the illusion that it's probably back in the low 90s with that slower breaking ball.
See him just shake that left arm. Here comes a 2-0 to Pujols. This ballpark has seen the second fewest home runs this year at 24 home runs here at AT&T Park, and it's a chilly night, as you might imagine, here on the 30th of May. 3-0, and Pujols has that green light. And he walks. So a single, a flyout, a walk, and now it's Ryan Ludwig. And Ludwig was telling me the other day that for him last year, Al, this was just about the time at this ballpark when Tony La Russa just let him go, let him play every day, and he's had great numbers here at AT&T and against the Giants.
Well, people forget that, you know, he was started the season in a platoon, and before he just took off was 37 home runs, 100+ RBIs, Silver Slugger Award, and All-Star berth.
And that pitch is taken at 70 miles an hour for a ball a little high.
Ryan is 3 for 9 against Zito. Cardinals have numerous hitters that have had success against Barry Zito.
And 2 of those 3 hits have been doubles for Ludwig. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was this time last year that Barry Zito was taken out of the rotation and moved to the bullpen, which ended a streak of 261 consecutive starts for Zito. Every 5th day you can count on him. He has not been injury prone whatsoever. No. That's one of the reasons why he got that deal.
And how about Zito's gone 185 straight starts without recording a complete game. Our buddy Kirk Reeder was the last to own a longer streak. He had 193.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 runners on, and 1 out here in the Cardinals' top of the 1st in our ball game here at AT&T Park. In the dirt, 2-2. Now, some scouts, when they moved Zito out of the rotation to the bullpen, felt that you just don't break routine. That's probably the worst thing you could do for him. But Dave Righetti said at times you have to take a step back before you move forward. And they felt just to clear his mind, move him out of the rotation, try to alleviate some pressure and let him straighten things out in the bullpen. A 2-2.
Brian, rarely do you straighten things out in the bullpen because you aren't pitching on a consistent basis.
And that's what scouts were saying.
Right. But, you know, I think Dave Righetti I have tremendous respect for him. And I think by communicating to Zito, it was a little exceptional case, and he probably needed more downtime.
A 3-2, and Ludwig is fooled by the pitch at 71 miles an hour. He pulled the string. First strikeout for Zito.
71 miles an hour. That's hard to wait back as see the sinking action from lack of gravity. Lack of velocity and gravity takes over.
So now it's Molina. Runners at first and second for Yadier, who's hitting .269, 3 home runs and 17 RBIs. First pitch to the Cardinals catcher. Taken for a ball outside. You saw a little motion there as Zito was animated after the strikeout, talking to himself of Ludwig, and he has made a point to try to go back to how he was in Oakland. Free spirit, trying to enjoy the game again, and also pitching with emotion. A fly ball into right. Cardinals will strand 2. The Giants coming up in their half of the first against one of the best in Chris Carpenter in San Francisco. No score here on Fox Sports Midwest. No score. Bottom of the first rolls in here at AT&T Park in San Francisco on a cool night. A look at the Giants lineup. Rowan, Renteria, and Wynn. Randy Wynn last 18 games hitting .371. Then Molina, Sandoval, Lewis, Uribe, Burris, and Barry Zito. Facing Chris Carpenter. And the first pitch to Rowan is a ground ball hit to short. Brendan Ryan will make the play easily. One pitch, one out. Carpenter coming off an outstanding game against Milwaukee. And his numbers brought to you by our good friends at Marshall Wireless.
His 5th start, 3rd since coming off the disabled list, 2-0 record. He has only allowed 1 unearned run and currently has 20 1/3 scoreless streak going. He has not allowed that earned run yet. He's the only Cardinal pitcher since 1954 to not allow an earned run in their first 4 starts to the season.
Here's a 33-year-old shortstop, Edgar Renteria. Came into camp this year 10 pounds lighter. Last 3 years averaged 12 home runs and 60 RBIs, and he had some great offensive years with the Cardinals.
He's just a class act. Very well respected in that by Tony and his coaching staff and all the Cardinal players.
1-1 is swung on and missed. We have seen a lot of swings like that against Carpenter where he is just completely fooling the hitters.
Well, that breaking ball is just so nasty. You can throw that cutter coming in on a left-hander, away to a right-hander. Just the great movement, but it's that mound presence. You just know you're in for a battle.
Here's a 1-2 pitch by Carpenter. And it's 2-2. Now, Renteria is from Colombia, and there was no World Baseball Classic team from Colombia, and he said it really upset him. He wanted to play in that event, and he said there's more major league players at the minor league level and major league players from Colombia than there are from, let's say, Italy or some of the other countries that were represented. So it did make a lot of sense. Last season for Renteria was a World Series year for the Cardinals, and since then he's been with Boston, Atlanta, Detroit, now San Francisco. The Cardinals 13 different shortstops since Edgar left St. Louis. Most notably David Eckstein. A little bit high and in to Renteria, and the count is full.
Well, we've had 5 different opening day shortstops during Tony's reign.
And a 3-2 pitch from Carpenter to Edgar. Upstairs. And a walk. Any concern with the early workload coming back off the DL for Carpenter?
No, not at all. Because his arm is healthy. You know, the first time he went 5 innings. Last time out he went 8 shutout innings. You know, it was a 67, something like pitches the first time, around 100 on Monday. Just the walks are a rarity for a Cardinal starter right now.
Well, both these teams have really pitched well. San Francisco over their last 11 games with an ERA collectively under 2. The Cardinals right in that same area. Randy Wynn looks at a strike. I know Joel Pinheiro was a little surprised that he was pulled from the ball game last night fairly early in that game.
I was a little surprised too. And then I thought it was, okay, if you're going to do that, put in Thompson, who hasn't pitched for 13 days, who's supposedly your long man. I thought that had his name on it. And then Loesch, there's a strong possibility, will not make his start on Tuesday.
And, just thinking along here with you and Tony La Russa, my guess would be that the reason that you didn't see Thompson last night is because then he would have to fill in and make a spot start in case Loesch can't go next week.
So what? He'll be ready.
Well, what if he goes 5 innings and he pitches on a Friday night? He needs to fill his start.
So what?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So you're going to come back short days rest with him?
And I tried to win the game last night and I worry about Tuesday when Tuesday comes around. I have to make a roster move and make a roster move.
1-2. Inside. Again, I'm just trying to think along the lines here of Tony La Russa. So that would be my guess.
That would be your guess, and it makes perfect sense. But of course, I would not have as many pitchers they have also.
Here's a 2-2. Hit out of play and foul. "13 pitches already in the first inning here for Carpenter. Two balls, 2 strikes, and the next from Chris. Popped up left side. And that'll find the seats out of play. Randy Wynn. He's been in the major leagues for quite a while now. 34-year-old from Los Angeles, California. He's been with Tampa Bay, Seattle, now San Francisco. Originally signed by the Florida Marlins and then in the expansion draft picked up by Tampa Bay. Sounded like a broken bat. Popped up and going out to make the catch, Brendan Ryan. A look at the Cardinals defense tonight in the outfield: Duncan, Ankiel, and Ludwig. Barden, Ryan, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. And the battery tonight is Carpenter and Yadier Molina. Mentioned the number 4, Al, and the Giants are 17-6 when they score 4 runs in a game.
That's right. And mentioned where Barry Zito has won 100 of 106 games when his team has given him 4 runs.
And a strike to Benji Molina with Yadier behind the plate.
There is something that is hard to ignore. But since Benji has come to the Giants, he is 7-0 when he's catching a Giant pitcher against his brother.
And it's our Toyota keys to the game. Here's what you're talking about: the Molina brothers.
When they go head to head, Yadier is paying 182 and has 0 wins. And there you see a 371 average with 7 wins when Benji is catching. Now, since Benji has come here, the Cardinals have won 4 games, and those were caught by LaRue or Bennett. That's hard to imagine.
1-2.
And Benji's hit in all 9 games that he's been involved with against the Cardinals. Not suggesting that younger brother is telling him what's coming.
It's not A-Rod back there. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses up and in.
Not quite as sharp as he has in coming off the disabled list, but he is such a warrior. I am sure he'll figure it out as this game goes along.
Benji is the oldest of the 3 Molina brothers in the big leagues, and there's a strikeout for Carpenter, his first of the night, and the Giants strand a runner. Ankiel, Barden, and Chris Carpenter due up for St. Louis. Well, if you're traveling and can't catch our broadcast, catch all the action on your computer at MLB.tv. Over 100 live out-of-market games per week. For details, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on. Rick Ankiel in the starting lineup tonight, and he's doing it against a left-hander. We haven't seen very much of Rick since he has returned after that horrific crash into the wall back on May 4th in St. Louis.
Started it on Sunday when he came off the disabled list. He did pinch hit last night, but I think this is a tough assignment with that slow off-speed stuff from Zito.
And that's where these young left-handed hitters like Duncan and Ankiel have been susceptible, and Thurston to an extent, to a lot of change-ups and off-speed pitches. And you throw him in against a former Cy Young Award winner in Barry Zito. That pitch at 85, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Zito, if he can have that really slow with a changeup or a slow breaking ball away. And interesting, I mean, there's his fastball back to back at 85 miles an hour. Very hittable. Another fastball.
2-2.
He's got that spot up and in where Rick is susceptible to also. So up and in, breaking balls, change ups down and away. Another fastball, establishing the fastball.
And Ankiel strikes out. That's the second of the night for Barry Zito. Go back to the last pitch, and strikeout number 2 for Zito.
I got just about all fastballs in this sequence, but the ball up, you know, it's a little alarming.
Here is Barden. He's at third base tonight, hitting .247 overall, 4 home runs and 8 RBIs. That misses in. 2 balls, no strikes. Ryan Dempster goes 8 innings today for Chicago, and they shut out the Dodgers 7-0 at Wrigley Field. Reed Johnson with 3 hits in that ball game. Two and 1. Here's a broken bat hit to third. Uribe. 2 outs. In steps Carpenter with 2 outs and nobody on. A run support, 2.36 home ERA, which is 10th best in the National League for Zito, but it hasn't mattered because you see that run support. He and Justin Miller at 13.
Well, he's a reliever. Justin Miller's a reliever, and that's what Barry's getting, you know, when he's on the mound. He's 0-1 at home with that 2.36 ERA.
And now Carpenter looks at a strike. Schumacher in the 9th spot here tonight is that secondary leadoff man, and he's on deck. Wasting no time, 0-2.
My partner, Dan McLaughlin, was furious with Carpenter swinging in batting practice today.
I just don't want to see him get hurt.
It's a valid point, Dan.
Uribe to his left and just lobs it over to Sandoval. And Pablo Sandoval, the big first baseman, leads it off when we come back. Sunday, NASCAR on Fox heads to Dover, Delaware, where Kyle Busch will try to defend his title against a full field of the world's best drivers. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing, presented by McDonald's from Dover, begins Sunday at 12:30 in high definition. And Sandoval, the switch hitter, showing bunt. I don't think we're going to see him bunt because this guy can hit.
Wouldn't think so. He's a switch hitter.
Brendan Ryan to his left to make the play. History's biggest hit is back. Don't miss a sneak peek of Ice Road Truckers in the 8th inning. Here's Fred Lewis.
Big fan of the Truckers, huh? The Ice Truckers.
Have to wait till the 8th. Fred Lewis slaps one the other way. Duncan can't come up with it. It'll be a double.
Chris really has a tendency to dive for a lot of balls. And, you know, when you do that, if you make the catch, it's fine. But when you don't make the catch, it's another base. Sometimes you're better off just playing a little more conservatively and just keep it to a single.
Now Uribe. He's the nephew of Jose Uribe, former infielder with the Giants. Played 3 years in Colorado, part of the White Sox World Series championship team, 2005, and now in his first year with the San Francisco Giants. 2-0.
Well, Uribe starting to play third base now as Sandoval, who sat out about 4 games with a wrist problem, a right elbow problem, and now, you know, Bochy's putting them both in the lineup with Sandoval moving to first.
The 2-0 pitch. This is low and away, 3-0.
It's a big ballpark, and this Giants team doesn't have much power.
They actually hit under 100 home runs a year ago. And this year they haven't hit many either.
Well, they've hit 25.
Uribe, right center. And that'll get down. Uribe on his way to third with a triple. And it's 1-0 Giants. First earned run allowed by Carpenter.
You mentioned how the Giants like their outfielders because it's a very big, speedy outfield. And plugs that gap out in right center, the deepest part of this ballpark. It's over to third, and as you said, Carpenter now has an ERA.
We have the pitcher on deck in Burris here with 1 out. Emmanuel Burris, 24-year-old from Washington, D.C. He's a slap hitter and a switch hitter that has tried to move from shortstop to second base. Our Firestone leaderboard. Let's take a look at that at the top portion of your screen. Stolen base leaders, Bourne with 16. And Burris will be there. He's got 11. Infield is drawn in. 0-1. Nothing in 2.
Burris has a 6-game hitting streak, hitting .500 during that time.
There you see the infield playing in 0-2. Here it comes. He got him. Called third strike. And the second strikeout tonight for Carpenter. Even though the pitcher was on deck, he went right at the 8th place hitter.
You should. There you see that tailing action. You give up on it if you're a left-handed hitter, and it breaks over the inside part of the plate.
So big strikeout there, and here's Zito hitting .071 this year. Puts it in play. Slowly hit. Barton bare hands. He's made that play 3 or 4 times this year and done very well with that bare hand charging in. It takes the hit away from Zito. Nice play by Brian Barton. Saves a run. Giants get on the board. It's 1-0. Hey, Metro East moms and dads, the Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics are coming to Belleville, Illinois on June 9th and 11th. Not just for boys, but girls too. Ages 7 to 13 can learn baseball and softball fundamentals from former Cardinals greats. For more information, number to call is 345-9891 or visit us online at stlcardinals.com. 9th place hitter Skip Schumacher, who's 2 for 3 against Harry Zito in his career. Hitting .302 on the year with 3 home runs and 14 RBIs. Skip here, and then back to the top of the lineup in Brendan Ryan and Chris Duncan. If Duncan does not die for that ball, this could be a scoreless game. Looking back in retrospect, but then the triple, who knows?
Yeah, it's a fine line, Dan, because, you know, as a pitcher, you really appreciate when somebody tries to give the extra effort. But other times, you know, you say, hey, I can pitch around that if it stays a single. Now with the triple, it probably, you know, if it's at first, he's still going to score on a triple, but pitch a lot differently.
Sandoval. And that's the point, you know, if he's got a runner at first, he might pitch that a little bit differently, and you just don't know. But again, you do applaud the effort, but you wish he'd keep it in front and not give up that extra base. First at bat, Brendan Ryan saw one pitch and picked up a base hit to left.
Only hit by the Cardinals, and he's also, what, 3-for-4 now against Zito. So he has an idea what he's doing.
Brendan from the LA area, and his older brother is here, and some family friends.
I enjoy watching him play. You know, he just plays with a certain amount of energy, learning to play under control.
And without question, he's been the Cardinals' best defensive shortstop.
Not crazy the way he slings the ball over there, but he's been very effective doing so.
It's one of those things like you've talked about, and I visited with Bob Forsch a couple of weekends ago, like what Van Slyke was doing at Wrigley Field.
Snatching.
Right. And until he made an error, then they said something to him. But one of these times, because of the way he slings the ball, not going to be on top of it, and it's going to tail.
It's going to sail.
2-1 the count. Another base hit for Brendan Ryan. Now 4 for 5 against Barry Zito. 2 for 2 on the night. Powerade along with Shop and Save are providing all kids ages 15 and under a Yadier Molina jersey backpack. Now the backpack will be distributed to kids prior to the June 7th game. That's a week from tomorrow against Colorado. The Rockies will be in town, and to purchase tickets, please visit stlcardinals.com. That Rockies team will be minus Clint Hurdle, who was fired yesterday.
Jim Tracy has taken over as bench coach, former Dodger and Pirate manager.
A swing and a miss by Duncan. Chris flied to left his first time up, 0 for 1. Little different looking Barry Zito here in 2009, huh?
Yes, very much so. Not quite Cy Young, but he's also looks a lot more comfortable and confident on the mound.
This time last year, he was topping out at 83 miles an hour with that fastball. He's an accomplished guitarist and published photographer. His father, Joe, was a conductor and composer for Nat King Cole, and his mother sang with Nat King Cole as well. So he has a musical background, and that's one of the things that he loves to talk about and he enjoys away from the ballpark. He also has strikeouts for troops. He's very active with this. He's put his name on it, but he's active too in visiting and donating money to soldiers that have been injured in battle and brought home in hospitals around the country.
He's gotten a lot of players to join in that effort, and they've already raised over $2 million in just a couple of years.
Time is called. 0-2 the count. We saw the other day that Jeff Suppan has his 4 seats that he buys for the troops.
Intrepid Fund, benefactor of Soups.
Runner goes, and a throw down to second, and Ryan is out as he comes off the bag. He was safe until he slid past the bag, couldn't control himself, and Renteria stayed with it and applied the tag.
That's a great description. He couldn't control himself. There you see he gets down there, he's by the bag, tries to dive back for it, but Renteria holds a tag on him, and he's caught stealing.
So 2 outs and 1-2 the count on Duncan. And that's a called third strike. Zito with his third of the night. 1-0 midway through 3. Well, there you see the big screen board HD board here at AT&T Park. And the Giants have a 1-0 lead. Chris Carpenter on the mound tonight. We were hoping to see Kyle Loge last night. That wasn't the case. Let's bring in Jim Hayes. And Jim, before the game, Loge tried to throw a side session. Didn't go well last night. Where does it stand right now with him?
Well, that forearm is still bothering him, Dan. They were hoping that Loge would be available to start on Tuesday. That, I'm told, is now highly unlikely. Dave Duncan told me they'll wait till they're back in St. Louis. They'll get Loge looked at to see if it's something that can't take care of itself. If it's something more serious than missing one start, they'll take action. But right now, highly unlikely that Loge will start on Tuesday. If he can, I'm told Brad Thompson will get that start.
Well, the one thing I'm concerned about that is it'll be 17 days since Thompson has thrown. Now, how in the world you can expect him to go 5 innings with that lack of work?
And the other thing, Jim, if you decide to DL him, I guess it's retroactive to the 23rd. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think that's right. They're not giving up hope that whatever that is continuing to bother Loge with the inflammation in the forearm, if it doesn't get better on its own, then they'll have to take action. They're still holding out hope that he will get better, but I'm told highly unlikely for Tuesday.
And again, this happened as this is hit down the left field line and foul. This was when he was at the plate, correct, Jim?
Yeah, he got hit by a pitch.
Hit by pitch,
right?
And that's where it stems from. And you mentioned, Dan, he had a side session yesterday. He actually cut it short, Loge, because he just wasn't comfortable. That was a bad sign right there. They were thinking of having him go out today and try again, but they scrapped that idea. Now they're going to wait till he's back in St. Louis and look him over.
Yeah, that was the game that he wound up going 8 innings, and he told me afterwards that he pushed to go out for the 9th, but because of being hit by the pitch, that was probably the right reason. And obviously now, a few games and days removed, that has been the right move. Here's Rowan. 0-2 is the count as Molina sets up inside. Fights it off. That's not an easy pitch right there. Looked to be a pretty good pitch.
Well, Rowan is 1 for 2 tonight and now 3 for 4 against Carpenter.
Friday, June 5th, the Cardinals play the Rockies. 25,000 fans will receive a poster featuring the 09 St. Louis Cardinals, courtesy of AT&T. To purchase tickets, visit STLCardinals.com. Now with that base hit for Aaron Rowan, that extends his hitting streak to 10 games. Here's Renteria, who walked his first time up.
I mentioned jammed him with that pitch and fights it off. Inside out stroke. Yeah, it would seem like just kind of an innocent pitch that hit Loge in the forearm has really become troublesome. When he pitches, he gets a burning sensation in his forearm.
You could ill afford to have him miss significant time, so be careful here early in the season. Nobody out. The pitch to Renteria as a strike.
And I mentioned that, it's one thing to have Thompson available to pitch on Tuesday. But my point being is it would have been very easy for him to go ahead and throw 1 or 2 innings last night's game, and then he would still have 3 days off or 3 days of rest to prepare for Tuesday.
Short lead at first by Aaron Rowan. Renteria, ground ball left side. Can they turn 2? Out there onto first, double play. As Rowan took out Schumacher hard and clean baseball out there at second base. So the double play goes 6-4-3.
Still the learning process of trying to stay on that bag, knowing you got a runner barreling down on you, and just, still hang with it and complete the throw. So Brendan gets to him, not your ideal double play ball, and still learning how to little jump over that runner.
Switch hitter Randy Wynn. Wynn, his first time up, popped out to short. Randy Wynn attended Santa Clara and was a college point guard on their their basketball team. That's carrying out to left center, and it's off the wall. And Wynn will wind up with a double, as Duncan did not look comfortable at all out there in left.
The ball just looked like it just kept on drifting, and usually in the cool California night air, the ball gets knocked down. Out away from him, just kind of wrists it out there. He just kind of goes back and jumps and then awkwardly hits the wall. And Keel backing up to play, retrieves it and gets it back in.
So it'll be a double, and now Benji Molina. 2 outs and a runner at second. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Molina struck out his first time up. Carpenter has struck out 2, walked 1, and allowed 4 base hits so far. There's a line shot, right center field. That play by Duncan is going to cost the Cardinals. Throwing to second base, Molina is in there safely. 2-0 Giants. Benji Molina picks up his 31st RBI.
Breaking ball out of way, but it's in the middle of the plate. And he plugs that gap out there, the second one. Second Giant hit, triple earlier off the bat of Juan Uribe, or here the double. But this play is a very catchable ball. Duncan out there for his offense, and it gets exposed defensively.
And a swing and a miss by Pablo Sandoval. Last year, he was sent to Class A San Jose to begin his 5th season of pro ball. Hit .359 there. Then he was brought up to Double A, hit .337. That was at Connecticut. Called up to the big leagues in mid-August and hit fairly well. He's 5'11", 250 pounds. Natural position is catcher. They saw him play a lot at third base at spring training. They like that, and now he's playing over at first base.
Yeah, he's only made 1 error at third base this season. And then he had the elbow problem, tightness, missed 4 games, and tried to generate some more offense. Bochy put him over at first base last night. And Uribe was playing third and doing a good job while he was sitting out. And now you got both of them at the corners.
You know, as a catcher, he gunned down 30 of 68 runners in the minor leagues last year. More than likely, you're looking at their catcher of the future, but his bat has gotten him every day playing. The last homegrown position player to make the All-Star game for the Giants, the mid-90s, was Matt Williams. And since then, they haven't had one. Homegrown.
Homegrown. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yep.
Of course, pitchers, are not voted on.
And this is position players.
Yes.
That's grounded foul. Baseball fun facts. 1979, the Expos Reds game is halted due to bats on the field. Not baseball bats, but actual flying bats. 1979. We get the birds about the 8th inning here at AT&T Park.
It's not an uncommon thing to happen.
Bats?
Bats. Remember in Atlanta, that sometimes the insects will come out of the turf and at a certain stage or a certain time of year, and then the bats happen in Atlanta. Happened in St. Louis one time, maybe not so many where you had to halt the game.
And Sandoval is hit by the pitch on the foot.
And I'm not too sure Molina didn't get the carom. Lifts that foot right on the back foot, the toe, and then gets underneath the armpit on Molina.
Runners at first and second. Here's Fred Lewis.
You can tell Carpenter's struggling this game when he's already thrown 50 pitches. That's unlike Chris.
It looked like he was going to get out of this inning after a single to start the inning. Then Rowan was erased on a double play. It was the double off the wall, off the bat of Randy Wynn, a catchable ball. Molina, his liner into right center for a double. That made it 2-0. Very easily could be no score. 1-1. Lewis doubled and scored on the triple by Juan Uribe back in the second. Two strikes.
Ball's got to be moving. That fastball that he throws in on the left-handed batters, and then it tails back over the plate. There's a lot of the lefties are giving up on that pitch.
Fred Lewis, all offseason, all he heard about was Manny Ramirez coming to San Francisco before he signed with the Dodgers. That was the talk out here, as the young ball boy couldn't come up with it. Bald dude is what he's called out here in San Francisco.
Do you think the Giants are very much relieved?
Any team that had interest,
suspended. It's not what they need. Another big slugger that's in a steroid scandal.
Yeah, they've had enough of that. A 1-2 pitch. And I'm glad that Joe Torre came out and said that if Ramirez was selected to the All-Star game, that he should not be in. It's common sense. Looks like Carpenter has struggled with this curveball just a bit.
It just hasn't had that good downward action yet, but something we would suspect he will discover it. Hopefully it's not before it's too late.
1-2 pitch to Lewis. Old foul again. Not nearly as sharp as we've seen him in his starts this year, but that happens over the course of a season, no matter if you're Chris Carpenter or Barry Zito, whoever it is.
Cy Young didn't win every game. In fact, I think he has the record amount of wins and losses.
And a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 3 for Carpenter, but a 2-run lead for the Giants. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest from San Francisco is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by the Casino Queen, home of the loosest slots. A chilly night here at AT&T Park in San Francisco, and Albert Pujols will lead it off. Now, last inning, Brendan Ryan gets thrown out at second, trying to steal a bag. And I'm not sure that's the play you want at that point, because that's out number 2. Then Duncan,
or if he is safe, now you create
first base open. Right. You want Pujols to come up with a runner on. We're trying to, think, and there's a high strike on Pujols.
Even if
he was going on his own.
If he was going on his own, but Tony, does have certain guys who lets run on their own, but there are also times where he says, "Do not run." And that seemed like it would be an appropriate time.
Yep.
And Chris Duncan isn't exactly the contact type hitter that you would put the hit and run on.
Here's a 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike with Pujols here, then Ludwig and Molina.
Now, there are times too when Tony says, "Hey, first base is open, they can go ahead and walk him."
Upper deck shot. Pujols put on a show for batting practice here this afternoon. He was launching the ball.
You see the softball players yesterday?
Yeah. We had the home run hitters from the various softball teams around the country. A few of them left the ballpark. Some splash hits. That's out to center. Well hit. Rowan is back. He'll look up, and it's gone. Sneaks over the wall, and Pujols picks up his 15th home run. 41st RBI. Cardinals get on the board on a line drive home run to center field off the bat of Albert Pujols. Ball just kept on carrying.
It's a very difficult ballpark to hit home runs out of, but they're also talking about somebody with exceptional strength.
Pitch by pitch brought to you by Chevrolet.
Trying to come inside. It's up and in, high strike. Then a good curveball. Evens at 1-1. Now the breaking ball. See how, just waiting. There's a breaking ball comes in on him. And then he finally gets a pitch up out over the plate. He drives it.
Not to say that BP is going to tell you what kind of day a player will have, but he had one of his better BP sessions this afternoon. Now it's Ludwig. 0-1 pitch. That pitch was up past Uribe, a fair ball into the Giants bullpen, but Ludwig only play is to stay at first. So a single, he's 1 for 2.
Good play by Freddie Lewis to hold it to a single. Zito got their breaking balls hanging up there, and Ludwig just hits it inside the line, and Freddie Lewis got over there very quickly to hold him to a single.
Here's Yadier Molina, nobody out. Molina flied to right with 2 runners on, his first time up. Watching Tim Lincecum throw his bullpen today. Ball just explodes out of his hand.
And he got up to a little slow start, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, but now he's starting to dial it in.
Yeah, he throws hard, and he's only 170 pounds. He's got that odd motion towards the plate.
He's got a delivery that I'm sure everybody in pro ball wanted to change, and smart enough not to.
Some stayed away from Lincecum despite the fact he had a tremendous college career. He was the 10th overall pick, but the 7th pitcher taken in that draft.
And I'm sure there's some clubs that, oh, he's too small.
And there's Randy Johnson. Mike Shannon had a chance to catch up with Randy on the pregame show. He's 1 win away from 300.
And his next 2 starts will be on the road, and his next one being in D.C.
Since the age of 30 for Randy Johnson, it's remarkable. He struck out over 4,000, and he's won 249 games since he turned 30. It's been a struggle, though, for him to get up to 300. 1-1 pitch to Molina. For Johnson, the big unit, he went into 2007, needed 20 more wins for 300. He only picked up 4 in that year. Bad back. He won 11 last year, but he had 10 quality starts that turned into losses or no decisions. So he might have been able to do it last year, and certainly he'll get it done this year.
Those fingers, how long they were.
When you think about who else is out there that could get to 300. Molina and a double play ball. 4-6-3 as Renteria takes his time. 4-6-3 on the double play. The guy that was closest, but he just retired, was Mike Mussina. He was only 30 away from 300. Jamie Moyer's been stuck at 249.
Yeah, Jamie Moyer's what, 46?
So that's not happening.
You know, Glavin.
The Braves have their fingers crossed that one of their 300 game winners would come back, and that's Tom Glavine.
You know, Smoltz.
He's at 210, and of course he missed time because he was closing games.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the likelihood of getting 90 more or remote.
Pedro Martinez at 214, and he's out of baseball right now.
Good ball.
There's that big breaking ball from Barry Zito.
Remember the first time it was all fastballs, and we'll see now how much you change it. Here's a slider.
1-2 pitch, and Ankiel strikes out. He has struck out twice tonight, and Zito with 4 this evening. It's 2-1. Pujols with a solo home run cuts into the lead. It's now 2-1. Here's Uribe. First pitch. Hit in the air right side. Pujols giving chase, and no play. They built this ballpark. It's a rarity that you actually have the bullpens that are in the field of play.
Well, you remember what happened when they built this ballpark. they forgot they had to have bullpens, so they were a late addition, and that's one of the reasons why they're, you know, in play.
A fly ball into right. Ludwig is there, makes the catch. We had a chance to visit with Tony La Russa before the game and asked him about the great start for Chris Carpenter coming into this start here tonight.
Everything was perfect. You can't have 20 shutout innings in big leagues, and to do it the way he's had to do it, coming back interrupted, amazing. But it's all in the past, man. It's what he does tonight.
And what has he done tonight? He's given up a couple of runs, 5 hits. He has struck out 3 on the night. He's hit a man and walked 1. Not quite as sharp as we've seen him.
No, and kind of a little bit, I'm sure he's be upset with himself, because after a couple balls that were, you know, not made, plays made out in left field, he gave up extra base hits right after that.
This could turn out to be a pretty easy inning for him, as the 8th place hitter Burris is retired. A new episode of Johnny Mac's Cardinals Insider premieres on Sunday right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Mike Matheny, our special guest, as we'll profile top prospect Brett Wallace, and Todd Wellemeyer gives us pitching tips on windups and release points. So that's the Cardinals Insider tomorrow at 10 on Fox Sports Midwest.
I felt that Carpenter would settle in and kind of become more efficient.
Zito with a base hit out to left. He very easily could be 2 for 2.
Yes, took the Barden's nice play on kind of a swinging bunt the first time up. It's only his 2nd hit of the year.
And in steps Aaron Rowan. Aaron, a 31-year-old from Portland, Oregon, and the 35th pick overall back in '98 by the White Sox.
1 for 2 tonight and 3 for 4 in his career against Carpenter.
Mention how they really looked to him for leadership in the outfield and in that clubhouse. Crashed into the wall a couple of years ago, suffered a nasty broken nose, required 7 hours of surgery, and early last season he was playing with a cracked rib and did not take himself out of the lineup. Pretty demanding position to do so out in center field too. Swinging the bat can't feel good. A 2-0 pitch. 2-1. Rowan made his major league debut against the Cardinals in interleague play back in 2001. Then a Gold Glover, an All-Star, as he signed a 5-year, $60 million contract to come to San Francisco. Part of the Jim Thome deal. The White Sox and Phillies. Finished up with Philadelphia, became a free agent, and landed right here in San Francisco.
Well, I mean, you don't worry about Carpenter when he falls behind the count, because he could throw any of his pitches over for strikes, but it's not that sharp tonight.
3-2.
Called away, it kind of was running in on it, but terrific movement. He couldn't center the ball and fouled it off. Fastball away.
Rolling on the ground to short. Good lead by Brendan Ryan to Skip Schumacher. 9th place hitter is due up for the Cardinals, and he'll bat 3rd. Skip Schumacher at second base tonight, and Skip is coming up when we come back. Well, 6 is a serious number. When the Cardinals score 6, you get a 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just a quarter the next day at On the Run at Mobile. Win or lose, when the Cardinals score 6, you score 25-cent drinks at On the Run. AT&T Park, one of the best settings for baseball. Still some signs of Barry Bonds around this ballpark. Some of his historic shots and milestones. 756 back in early August of 2007. That's one of the reasons that they went out and got Barry Zito, as Brian Barden digs in. Zito's first year was Barry's last year, and the club took some heat for re-signing Barry Bonds. At the time, they thought it was for a contract much higher than what it actually was, so they were taking heat for that. And the club had basically stated that that would be it for Barry Bonds that year with the San Francisco Giants, and they had turned their attention to pitching and would build around Barry Zito. When things weren't going well, Barry Zito had a shirt that said, "Go ask Barry," and an arrow pointed on his shirt towards the direction of Barry Bonds.
I'm sure Barry had the answer too.
I'm sure he loved the media coming up and wanting to visit. A 2-2 pitch to Barden. A Cardinal leadoff man in a 2-1 game here in the top of the 5th.
And you go back to that the Giants 500 club. And you know how successful the Cardinals have been, but the Giants have 4 members of the 500 home run club, and the Cardinals don't have any.
Popped up. And the catch made. And some, might think Stan Musial, but he was short by 25.
Yeah, 475.
McGuire's best years, home run wise, at least a few of them in St. Louis.
But not all of them.
Right. Hit number 500 against the San Diego Padres at Busch Stadium.
Remember, that was a historic night that almost would have been a double milestone. There never ever has been a 500 home run and a 3,000 hit. And Tony Gwynn fell one hit shy.
And Tony Gwynn then would get the base hit in Montreal. And he talked about it. He was frustrated with that because he wanted to do it. He said, if I couldn't do it at home, I wanted to do it in a great baseball city like St. Louis.
Sure. That's kind of like Randy Johnson going to Washington, D.C. and getting his 300th win there.
A swing and a miss by Carpenter.
Sometimes it's just not the justice.
1-2. And there's a strikeout. That's 5 for Zito. This day in baseball history is Mike Matheny beats the Cubs with a walk-off walk. May 30th, 2004, our Schnooks, this date in baseball history.
While you're doing that, Benji Molina almost went into the dugout thinking it was the 3rd out. The fans had to turn him around.
There's Schumacher. He's 0 for 1. You see that with outfielders. You don't see it normally with a catcher.
No. Usually a little more into the game, aren't they? So watch this, the final swing by Carpenter, and he takes off. He's headed there. Everybody else.
2-0.
Now he had to come back. Well, the pitcher's supposed to bat in the nice spot, isn't he?
Yeah, but you're supposed to know how many outs too. I wonder if he's going to hear about it from Yadier. 3-1.
I've seen guys go to the plate without a helmet. But the worst was see a pitcher went to the plate with no bat.
That's up the middle and a base hit. And did you see that?
Yes.
Now who would do that?
Bob Walk.
I'll have to ask Bob about that. So Yadier now has a little feel to that fire between the two brothers. I mean, Benji, you got to know, we play 3 outs here per inning, per half inning. Brendan is 2 for 2. Caught stealing after his single back in the third.
Average up to 269 right now.
Cardinals with 5 base hits against Zito, and he has struck out 5. And here we are in another 1-run game for the San Francisco Giants. They trailed only in Milwaukee with a very good record, 10 games above 500 in 1-run games last year. All other games, 51 and 85. And when you look at their wins, they had 72 wins, with 20 of those coming against the Padres and the Washington Nationals. You take those two out of the equation, this team was getting beat up a lot.
Seems like this a little better ball club now. You know, Zito pitching well, but we got Lincecum, we got Kane. Kane now 6-1 with his win last night.
And this, for the most part, has been a 500 division, it seems like, the last couple of years.
Dodgers off to the tremendous. There you see the 6-1 Kane. A lot of season left, but remember he came in with a 2.40 ERA and only allowed one run.
Brendan grounds it to short. Renteria to second. Force play there. Midway through 5. 2-1 Giants.
Welcome back to AT&T Park in San Francisco as Carpenter down 2-1. Renteria, first hitter. He is 0 for 1. He hit into a double play his last time out. He walked back in the first. Renteria was with Detroit last year. He's moved around since he's left the Cardinals. And seems like he always is a much better player in the National League than the American. Good breaking ball there. Carpenter not quite as sharp as he's allowed 6 hits, but his biggest problems is twice he's given up an extra base hit, and then the next batter would get another extra base hit. Renteria just throws the bat at it in submission as Carpenter picks up his 4th strikeout. Let's take a look at Affleck. Our trivia question. In 2001, who did Albert Pujols tie for the most hits by a Cardinal rookie? Think about that for a quick second. And Emmett Hendrick, 194 back in 1899.
So here's Randy Wynn. And Carpenter, that last pitch to Renteria was sharp, huh?
Just kind of like, that's it. I can't hit that pitch. I give up.
You don't see him do that very often. Renteria.
Well, look at that. You know, he's had that fastball working where that tailing action. You know, if it starts inside, these left-handed batters get it up, but that just ran completely across the plate. Just hadn't had quite the curveball.
There it is again.
Down a little bit when was able to foul it off, but terrific movement. He's got that great cutter that'll come in on the left-handers, and he's got that pitch that moves away from him. Will be the cutter coming in now.
Win, a fly ball left center. Rick Ankiel there and makes the catch. Well, coming up, it's Wednesday, June 17th. Al, myself, and Ricky will all be there at the Champions Club in St. Louis. And you can get your tickets at stlcardinals.com. We'll be broadcasting from the Champions Club. All 3 of us will be there. Gives you an idea about the flat screen TVs. Never know on June 17th how hot it might be, so you get an air-conditioned area. Seating outside, it's down the third base line in the suite area. And we hope you join us. And again, those tickets at stlcardinals.com. Molina into right. And a 1-2-3 inning for Carpenter. We played 5 here at AT&T Park. The Giants have a 1-run lead. It's time to bring you up to speed with the AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Cardinal fans here in San Francisco, and it's 2-1 as the Giants have a lead. Starting pitching has been so good for the Cardinals that it has overshadowed what's been taking place with this offense. The Cardinals here tonight now with just 5 base hits. Kane was very tough last night. Need to get things going. Duncan here, then Pujols and Ryan Ludwig. There's that high strike again. 0-2. Been a tough night for Duncan. Chris at the plate, caught looking on strikes and a low strike. Back in the third. And also flied out to left. Reaches for it. Over Renteria on a base hit. And now you get Pujols to come up with a runner on.
Basically threw the bat at it and paid off. And right now Albert, he walked the first time, then hit his 15th home run, dead center field.
I mean, that thing was just a line drive. I mean, it wasn't even a high towering shot. Got out in a hurry and just kept on carrying over that 399 sign.
But it was smoked.
Yes, it was. So he is homered here tonight and walked his first time up.
Almost looks like Albert just he knows about that breaking ball, but just not going to offer at it until he gets 2 strikes. He can't throw a fastball by him, that's for sure.
1-0 pitch. 2-0. And Zito steps off the mound, realizing that this spot in the game is very, very important. 2 balls, no strikes on Pujols. Runner at first, nobody out, and a 1-run lead. One swing of the bat, Cardinals are on top.
It's already 2-0. Throw him a fastball. Good luck.
Just under the hands of Pujols.
Zito throws from the third base side of the rubber. And that's to allow him to get in on the right-handed batters.
That's a strike.
Wow.
Thinking something else there.
84-mile-an-hour fastball, and that takes guts to throw that to Albert. Curveball.
2-2. Pujols called out on strikes.
Albert thought that wall was up.
Big strikeout for Zito. His 6th of the night.
It's a slow breaking ball, and see Benji does a good job to pull it down to help sell it. And from that angle, it looked a lot better than when it looked like it was a strike.
I thought it was.
Thought it was high initially, but I have to go with Eric Cooper's call.
Ludwig. You go by the strike zone, which not a lot of umpires do. It's a very tight zone. It would be a strike, but you're asking for consistency. And Pujols had that very high called strike on him his 2nd time up. There's another changeup at 72. 0-2.
I remember Ludwig being out this time. You're trying to get your timing back, and then you got a pitcher out there that can really deal with the below the hitting zone. It's hard to get your timing back on that.
Ludwig tonight struck out in the 1st and singled his 2nd time up. And see, from the last time we saw the Giants, Barry Zito was completely different with his mannerisms, confidence.
Yes. He's out there competing instead of trying to just survive. Fastball in, didn't want it apparently. Now the changeup. Didn't want that. Curveball. Fastball away.
Well, what would you go with here on 0-2 with Ludwig?
This is a time where you could waste your fastball. Elevate it, do something. Save that changeup for later.
You know, he's had success with that changeup a couple of times on Ludwig.
Yeah, I mean, that's where if you wanted to waste a pitch trying to throw the fastball out of the strike zone and get him to chase it, so, you know, he's got the slow breaking ball or he's got the changeup. Both of them are good weapons once he has 2 strikes. Fastball in, boy, he has some guts.
1-2.
I wouldn't think he'd want to throw it for a strike on the inside part of the plate, and he didn't. Fastball again. Inside.
Popped up. Playable. Second baseman Burris called off by Randy Wynn. 2 outs.
Challenging Cardinal hitters with fastballs in the inside that are actually below major league hitting speed.
So now it's up to Molina. Grounded into a double play. He's also flied out. 0 for 2. Giants won game 1 last night. On top here in game 2, 2-1. It's a team that went 72 and 90, 4th place finish in the National League West last year.
They've actually shown some life offensively recently, but they actually have a higher batting average. Changeup.
Molina guides it into right. Randy Wynn over near the wall, and it's out of play.
Does that surprise you that they have a higher batting average than the Cardinals?
After the first month, it would. Not now. Even as porous as their offense is. And I say that just because I know the Cardinals have hit about 220 here in the month of May.
Right.
And they haven't been pitching to Pujols. And where else are you going to find the offense?
Well, that's where it's been tonight.
Right.
Same changeup again.
1-1 pitch. Pulled towards short. Renteria will throw on the run, and Molina is safe with a base hit. So an infield hit for Yadier.
An infield hit, and he has 3 stolen bases this year. Playing him up the middle, you see the third baseman can't get it. Renteria tries to make the miraculous play. Yadi going hard. Yadi, why don't you just run? Every time you look at the ball, it slows you down.
First and second, Ricky Ankiel 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Let's see how Zito wants to approach him here.
First time it was all fastballs thrown by him. Second time curveballs.
He's late with that swing.
He is way off. On the 85 mile and 86, 84 mile an hour fastballs going right by him. Curveball. And this may be some kind of a.
Ooh, just missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. I mean, that's big right here with a guy that's struggling as opposed to going 0-2 now 1-1.
Sure.
Doesn't get that call.
And that's why I think Zito, with his ability to throw breaking pitches away. I had no idea that Rick's timing was so far off he couldn't handle the fastball, but I did not think this was a good matchup for Ankiel at all against Zito.
1-2 the count.
But he came off the disabled list Sunday, played Sunday, pinch hit last night, so somehow you got to get him back playing, and you need at bats before you can get your timing back.
Missed on the outside corner, 2-2.
Benji very quiet back there and really tries to frame the pitches. Just pull him back into the zone.
And Keel, hard hit to first. Sandoval takes it. Redbird strand 2. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. This time of night, sun setting here in San Francisco. It's gorgeous. And a big breaking ball for a strike to Pablo Sandoval. Only 22 from Venezuela. And he pops it up. Yadier will give it a look, and it's out of play. Matter of fact, he won the home run derby in the Venezuelan Winter League this last offseason. Some pretty big names in that. Bobby Abreu, Miguel Cabrera, Maglio Ordonez. A switch hitter.
He'll weigh 10 years from now.
And a ground ball hit to second. Handled by Skip Schumacher. What's on tap? Cardinals and the Giants tomorrow on KSDK. This is brought to you by Bud Light. And Wainwright will get that start. Our next telecast is on Monday from Busch Stadium. And the Cardinals will face Cincinnati, and Edison Volquez will get that start.
Come out to the disabled list to make that start. I think I saw where Joey Votto has been put on the disabled list. Is there concern? Remember a while back he had flu-like symptoms, and then since then he's been experiencing dizziness. Does that count being hit by a pitch?
No. No, it doesn't.
Bounces in the
no,
dirt
that's
and
dead
goes
ball
up in the air and comes down and hits you.
He had to be quick. He knew that was coming back to get him. Bunch of finals already through now. Toronto over Boston 5-3. Florida over the Mets 7-3. Final 11, Arizona beat Atlanta 3-2. Mentioned the Cubs earlier today at Wrigley Field won 7-0. Tampa Bay Rays really dominated their game. I was watching it on MLB.TV over Minnesota 5-2.
You know, that score doesn't give any justice to that game, does it?
No, really doesn't. Minnesota just got pounded. White Sox pounded Kansas City 5-3. Here's a chopper hit to short. Brendan Ryan easily. And it's up to Juan Uribe. And Carpenter is due up second for the Cardinals, and he's at 85 pitches.
It might depend on, hopefully, we get Barden on and let him sacrifice him over. I'd try and stretch him out a little bit.
Uribe has a triple. And his third base coach was telling him to slide. The talented musician Tim Flannery. He's released 6 CDs in the U.S., 1 in Ireland. There he is, Tim Flannery.
He's Bruce Bochy's best friend, who fired him one time. He was in San Diego, and then Bochy got this gig up here, and he says, "You want to go to the rodeo one more time?"
And here he is. In the dirt, Bruce Bochy is in his final year of his contract here in San Francisco. Took over for Felipe Alou. So Bochy was born in France, where his father was stationed in the Army, and then grew up in Florida.
Bruce, I asked him how he likes up here in San Francisco. He said he's staying one of the condos across the street. He said, "I love the fact that, I don't have to use a car. On the off days, he and his wife will go up to Napa, have a good time." And he said, $10 in a cab will take you any place in the city.
5 strikeouts for Carpenter. Barden, Carpenter, Schumacher coming up. It's 2-1. Timeout for the Cardinals game infinity report, and it's 2-1 Giants. Chris Carpenter getting the start tonight. Carpenter with 5 strikeouts, including that one of Renteria. And here's Barton. Now Carpenter is at the on-deck circle, but a right-hander is getting loose for the Cardinals in the pen.
That's Jason Mott in the bullpen.
Slowly hit to short. Renteria with it. One away.
And now Carpenter would be pulled back, and Stavanoa is going to pitch hit for him. The Carpenter goes 6 innings, 6 hits, allows 2 runs, both earned. He walked a batter, hit a batter, and strikes out 5.
And Nick Stavanoa will pinch hit for Carpenter. Stavanoa on this road trip has had some big hits along the way for St. Louis. One of those a game winner. Also picked up his first ever major league home run.
He's picked up 3 game-winning RBIs. You know, when he got the first major league home run, that Friday and Saturday game against Kansas City.
It's pitch number 99 for Barry Zito. And on the year, Stavanoa is hitting .237, 1 home run, and 8 RBIs.
Carpenter threw 91 pitches in 6 innings.
And there's a liner into left center field. Stavanoa thinking too. Cut off by Rowan. Here comes the throw. He's in there safely. 1-out double. And now the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position.
Curious that Stavanoa, first person off the bench for Tony La Russa, but he didn't start against the left-hander, as he elected to go with Ankiel and Duncan, 2 left-handed hitters out there. And he plugs the gap and gets in scoring position. Let's hope Schumacher, who's 1 for 2, can bring him home. Very least get Carpenter off the hook, but hopefully he can get him a victory.
And now their bullpen will get active for the Giants. Brendan Ryan is on deck. And that is a fair ball off the bat of Schumacher, and this game is tied. Skip will trade places with Nick Stavanoa, and it's a 2-2 game. Back-to-back doubles, and it's 2-2 here in the 7th.
That's what you like to see. You know, I mean, Carpenter's such a presence that you want to score for him. You've got him off the hook, but hopefully now you can get him the victory. That's a second hit for Schumacher, who had a 6-game hitting streak stopped yesterday. And Righetti out to talk to Zito, allow Affelt, and I believe Metters to warm up down there.
It's the 15th RBI for Schumacher. Now Carpenter can't lose this game. Maybe a chance to win it.
He had a big well wishes for Willard Bainey a couple weeks ago, but he's also celebrating a birthday today. So hopefully you're out of the hospital, and Willard, get well and see you out at the ballpark soon. Happy birthday.
So runner at second and Skip Schumacher. A little bit surprised that they didn't have somebody up and getting loose because of Ryan's success against Zito with 2 more hits here tonight. Now has forward his career, he's 4 for 6 against Barry. A base hit would give the Cardinals their first lead.
Big spacious outfield here, but Ray Lewis playing relatively shallow. We'll see if, like you say, a base hit to the outfield. Could Schumacher score?
Pair of singles his first 2 times up. 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. Mott continues to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. .75 miles an hour. Go ahead run at second base. Good speed in Schumacher. 2-1. 2-2.
Base hits tonight have been to left field, haven't they? You can't take something to right field this time.
2-2. Pulled foul. Cardinals have now out-hit the Giants 9-6.
Brandon only has 3 RBIs.
The pickoff play. In his defense, he's been a leadoff man or the 9th place hitter. Hasn't had many opportunities.
Right. Cardinals are 12-5 in games he's started, winning 12 of the last 15. Got a 3-game hitting streak with his couple of base hits tonight.
2-2. Little floater out to center. Schumacher back to second. Up to Duncan. Duncan on an 0-2 pitch back in the 6th inning, singled to left. Pitch count at 108 for Barry Zito. You would think that one way or another this would be it for him. Got Pujols on deck.
Got a lefty warming up and ready for Duncan, and the righty for Albert.
Well, Bruce Bochy is saying, all right, I'm going with my guy that has pitched well. Let's give him a chance to get through 7 as he'll stick with Zito here against Duncan.
I'm sure Zito wants to have that opportunity to stay in there long enough for let his team try to come back, break the tie.
I wonder what's going on in the back of his mind, though, and Barry Zito thinking that I pitched pretty well this year. I'm not getting run support, and here I'm 1 inning away from having a chance to win this game, leave it up to my bullpen. Now it's tied up 2-2. There's that big breaking ball again.
Carpenter waiting for Duncan to drive in Schumacher, put him in line for a victory. His teammates have gotten him off the hook.
Here's a 1-2. Instead, Zito steps off.
And Molina out to figure out what Zito wants to throw here.
Duncan, base hit. Cardinals have the lead. Into the corner it goes. And the Redbirds pick up their 3rd double of this inning. Schumacher scores and a huge base hit for Duncan. 3-2 Redbirds.
During the breaking ball, and this time he just stays in on it. Probably left it more in the inner part of the plate. Yep, right there, and just handles it. Kind of a hanger just inside the first baseline and down in the corner. And the Cardinals have the 3-2 lead. Carper in line for the victory, and now they're going to walk Pujols.
And how about Duncan? I'm sure in the back of his mind, this hit is a little bit bigger than maybe some of the others he's had this year because of the plays earlier in the game that led to runs with catchable balls. Just human nature.
And to reward Carpenter, put him in line here, as Bochy now will make the pitching change and bring in his right-hander. I believe that's Brandon Metters.
And one of the things he'll be questioned about is why not go with Affelt to face Duncan in that spot. Easy to second guess now.
Absolutely.
Zito gives him a shot. This is our Chevy call to the bullpen. And the righty coming in. We'll tell you about him when we come back. Cardinals their first lead. 3-2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. It was the 10th intentional walk to Pujols in the month of May. And this is Brandon Metters, who's with Arizona. He's out of Alabama. 21st appearance. Opponent sitting 256 against him.
And very good of late, especially pitching here at AT&T Park.
And that pitch is taken inside by Ludwig.
Right-handers are batting .220 against Metters. Fashioned a 0.54 ERA in 19 games here at this park, and he's second among National League relievers with a 182 average with runners in scoring position.
1-0 pitch. Ludwig chased it, fouls it back. Runners at first and second for Ludwig here tonight. He's 1 for 3 with a strikeout. His base hit was a single in the 4th.
This came off the disabled list yesterday. Missed 2 weeks with hamstring. And Metters was one of those guys that wasn't supposed to make this team, was he?
No.
One of the 2 M&M boys.
Here's a 1-1. We have Metters and Justin Miller. And their backgrounds are completely different, but yet those two have turned in the best of friends. Metters is the country boy. And let's just say Miller's not. The 2-1. 2-2. Oh, baby, was that big by Schumacher with his double to tie it up. And Duncan, with Zito still in this game, picked up a double to give the Cardinals a 3-2 lead. Cardinals got their first run thanks to Pujols in the 4th. And then 2 runs here in the 7th. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 on. Barry Zito, 6 2/3, 10 hits. He walked 2, one of those intentional. Struck out 6 and gave up the home run to Albert. Ludwig hits it a mile high on the infield. Burris is there along with Renteria. Edgar's got it. For Chris Duncan, one of the biggest hits in this ballgame to make it 3-2. 3-2. St. Louis with a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Chris Duncan is out of this game, but he has provided us with our Hardee's prime cut of the game.
Hanging breaking ball in the inner side part, just smokes it down into the right field corner for the big RBI, and the potential for Carpenter to win this game. It's up to the bullpen now, and the Cardinal bullpen has been very good in its own right.
So here is Mott, who was on the pregame show with Jim earlier tonight. And Mott taking away that Pittsburgh series to start the year has been outstanding. There's the fastball. And really the fastball sets everything else up as he'll try to throw that slider. See the ERA at 3.32, but opponents only hitting .232 against him.
Take away opening day and his ERA would be 150. Breaking pitch is still in a work in progress, but I think you're seeing the fastball being more electric. The velocity is back.
And there's that fastball. 3 pitches and Burris strikes out. So a strikeout to start the night for Mott.
He short arms the ball, throw it up there, and throw it right by a lot of good hitters.
Nothing fancy about it, is it?
No, not at all. Sherholtz is going to pinch hit here.
This is Sherholtz, who's been one of their top pinch hitters as of late. Overall hitting .250. Cardinals have a right-hander throwing in the pen.
Brad Thompson.
Well, you'd love to talk about Thompson tonight, Al, so go right ahead.
Remember, we couldn't pitch last night in his role as a long man because he's going to potentially start Tuesday, so we'll pitch him tonight. Oh, and he could be just thrown in the bullpen, too.
I would think that that's probably it. I'm done guessing. I just reported. You know, he's out there and he's throwing. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out and nobody on. Nate Sherholtz.
6 for 14 as a pinch hitter this season. As a career.
Just ask Mark Sweeney, if you can do that and be good at it, you can last a long time.
Well, he's not quite in Sweeney's role yet. He's only had 9 career pinch hits. Got a .360 average during that time.
In general.
And we'll see Sweeney, who's now a member of Joe Torre's coaching staff.
Two and two. Apparently he's been spending a lot of time with Dodgers GM Ned Colletti, and we played golf with him last year. He was still playing and wanted to get into broadcasting, but he also talked about maybe being a coach and maybe getting into the front office. Wide throw, but Pujols stays on the bag.
Lucky he didn't get stepped on or just run over. As Thurston just into this ball game makes a bad throw. Hard hit ball, collects himself, and then makes a poor throw. And look at how close Albert getting run over. Worry about that arm out there. Hand getting stepped on.
Seems to be all right. And now Rowan. And Rowan was waiting for it, hits it out to center. But Ankiel is there. History's biggest hit is back. Here's a sneak peek of Ice Road Truckers. Well, the Cardinals trying to hold on. Good inning of work by Mott. And St. Louis leads it by the score of 3-2. Jim Hayes had a chance to visit with Jason Mott before the game. Now, Jim, I've asked him about what is he saying into his glove. You've asked him now, so what is the answer? Now, see if it matches up with my answer that I got.
Well, Cardinal fans have seen Jason Mott. It looks like he's screaming into his gloves, sometimes muttering at the batter. And he said he saw a replay while he was watching the replay of a Cardinals game with his girlfriend. And she said, "What are you saying?" That's the first time he had noticed that he does it. He has no recollection at all of doing that on the mound. It's almost like he becomes a different person, Dan, when he goes out on the field.
Well, I agree. I mean, when I talked to him, he's saying the same thing. I said, "You have to know what you're saying." He said, "I have no idea."
Now he's a catcher.
That's familiar for him. The former catcher Mott. Nobody getting loose in the pen, so you get the idea that the 8th inning would be Mott's, and then ball goes right. Franklin in the 9th.
Wouldn't hurt to get an insurance run or two. As this is Romo, Sergio Romo, who just came off the disabled list.
Dealing with an elbow issue as Romo. 20 appearances last year, went 3-1. With a very good ERA. When you look at the NL Central, it doesn't seem like there's any team that will run away with it, especially when you talk about the Cardinals, the Cubs, and Milwaukee.
He has that very good ERA because this is his first appearance of the year.
And the ERA over 2 was from last year. Just over 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. He was 3-1 in those 20 appearances last year. Nasty pitch there. Just watching him kind of drop down like that, you could see where that slider would give your elbow a little issue.
Drops down, the ball starts on the outside part of the plate and then dips and dives outside, an unhittable pitch. The torque on the elbow. A late break too, doesn't it?
Very much so. And a swing and a miss by Ankiel. Rick is 0 for 3. Grounded out to first and struck out twice. It's slowly hit opposite way and foul. No balls and 2 strikes.
Good to see Rick back in the lineup, though. As that horrific crash in the wall, and came back and kind of the shoulder and oblique was bothering him a little bit, but it seemed like it was more the shoulder that's kept him out of the lineup recently.
You can see where this guy would be very tough on right-handers.
Backdoor breaking ball right there. I think Rick might tell you it's not a real picnic for a left-hand hitter either.
Yeah. Could give up on that breaking ball. 1-2 inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Giants have been pitching as of late. Last year they allowed 5 runs a game, but they trailed only the Chicago Cubs in strikeouts. Things just blew up on Bruce Bochy last year. Vizquel was out early with a knee injury. Noah Lowry had an arm issue. But they did have Tim Lincecum.
Lincecum, and he got off to a slow start this year, but Kane has been probably their best and most consistent pitcher, and some people are starting to tout him as a Cy Young candidate. A little early for that, but he's off to a great start.
Bruce Bochy, the former catcher with Houston, New York, and San Diego, is behind the plate for Pete Rose's famous 4,192nd base hit. As Pete did that against the Padres. He also wears a hat 8 3/4.
Yeah, he used to have to. He had a specialized helmet that he had to carry with every team.
That drops in for a base hit.
Not quite like you can pick up an 8 3/4 helmet.
Yeah. And now it's Thurston. And Bruce is in the final year of his 3-year deal. 12 years with San Diego. And twice he was the National League Manager of the Year. A very nice man, too.
Yes.
Thurston on the night. Came in at second base. And this will be his first plate appearance for the Cardinals. They moved Schumacher to left. Duncan came out of the game. And time is called. Experienced staff for Bruce Bochy with Carney Lansford and Dave Righetti as hitting coach and pitching coach. A swing and a miss. Carney was with the Cardinals coaching staff in the late 90s. And for Dave Righetti, this is his 10th season with the Giants. born and raised in San Jose. Short lead at first for Barden. One ball, one strike. But for these guys like Thurston and Barden now, you think it's hard for them not to hear what's happening as far as, you know, fans being a little frustrated about the corner spot and the lack of offense that's coming from third base.
I think it's only natural that
this might be some offense here. Deep right field, and it's off the wall. Barden being waved in. He will score. Thurston on his way to third. And he is in there with a triple. Off the wall in right. And the Cardinals add to their lead. A big two-out triple from Joe Thurston to drive in Barden. And it's 4-2.
Well, when you start driving in runs and you get base hits, nobody's going to talk about lack of production. But there you see, after pitching down, 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 he got one up, and he hits it off the out-of-town scoreboard, scoring Barden from first base and ends up at third. So Barden going out here. He slowed up there thinking he's going to be held up and had no trouble getting home with an extra insurance run. And the young second baseman had a chance without a hesitation. He should have thrown out Thurston at third.
Here's Schumacher now. Schumacher with a double past the third baseman Uribe. Back in the seventh inning. Two and 0. Brendan Ryan on deck. Well, that is a big, big run.
Big run.
Another one is out there in Thurston, and the Cardinals do it with 2 outs. It's something that San Francisco has done very well this year. Scoring with 2 outs, especially at home.
Justin Miller's warming up behind Romo.
And San Francisco with their win last night, 17-8 at home. So they played very tough here at AT&T Park.
Yes.
See Jose Oquendo in that shot right behind Thurston. As McClellan now will start to throw.
Well, my spot is the second spot, Chris Duncan, in case it gets extended, but 2 outs.
Fouled back. And because of the bullpens being in play, Jason LaRue has to protect Jeff Murphy, bullpen catcher and one of the coaches for the Cardinals.
Most of the time you get behind him to protect him. Stand in front of him.
Oh, we'll see if he'll be all right. I'm sure he's in safe hands with LaRue. There's a base hit into right. Schumacher another 2-out base hit to make it 5-2 Cardinals.
And Schumacher's third hit of the night and his second RBI. So a couple big insurance runs right here for the Cardinals. There you see the breaking ball, almost a defensive swing, just trying to make contact, and paid off. Sandoval has been playing as a catcher, playing third base. Really was slow to react. I don't think he could have got up that ball, but first baseman didn't react at all.
Chevy called to the bullpen as Bruce Bochy once again will go with a right-hander coming in. Justin Miller, the right-handed pitcher, coming in for the San Francisco Giants.
In the last couple innings, the Cardinals have broke things open with base hits and 4 runs. Brendan Ryan is always part of the action. Here tonight, he gets a couple base hits. He's part of a double play. He starts it. But you always got to worry about him playing under control. Last night's ball game, he kind of gets tangled up with his third baseman. Here he steals a base, but then overruns it, gets tagged out. But you always know he's going to be going full bore.
And a check on the runner. That's Schumacher over at first. Sandoval is playing first base, as we talked about, for just the second time here tonight. And I wonder if he could have ranged a little bit more to his right to get that ball.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't move, and that might have kind of froze his second baseman. I think it was perfectly well placed. That I doubt he could have gotten to it, but it was surprising that he didn't move at all.
And that's not an easy thing for a young player or any player trying to make that transition to first base. How far do you range to your right? Because in the back of your mind, you're also thinking, all right, I've got to get back to the bag.
And Justin Miller is our new pitcher, as he has been very good pitching here in China Basin.
Range on the infield has been an issue for both these teams this season at times. I think you definitely can see that when Green has been playing, Khalil has not been the defensive player that we thought. And Schumacher is still learning second base. One thing you know about Albert, though, he will range to his right. As Mott has moved to the on-deck circle, it's a 5-2 game.
And McClellan's throwing, ready if needed to. If he's within a couple pitches of getting totally loose, as he'll wait and see what happens, see if Mott's spot comes up.
Chant here at the ballpark of "Let's Go Cardinals." Pretty strong a couple of times during this ball game, with a lot of Cardinal fans here in San Francisco. Not a bad way to spend a weekend. Great time to do it in. 2-1.
Kyle McClellan, his older brother that taught him pitching, they had their first baby today. Mary Ann. Had trouble reading Jim Hayes' writing, but Matt and Liz, congratulations on the birth of a young daughter.
Renteria will flip to second, and Brendan Ryan ends the top of the 8th. Cardinals add to their lead. It's 5-2. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light, by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. And by Hyundai. Discover why only Hyundai can say sales event. Visit your St. Louis area Hyundai dealers. Back at AT&T Park, it's 5-2 Cardinals. Renteria, Wynn, and Molina, and they'll face Mott here to start this inning.
Second inning of work, as he threw 10 pitches, 8 of which were strikes in his first inning. Struck out 1. So a very efficient outing.
Renteria struck out last time up against Carpenter. That pitch at 95 on the gun from Jason Mott.
Well, he was basically threw the bat at it, almost giving up on the pitch.
Edgar was 22. He had that game-winning hit in the World Series back in 1997. Now 33. Mention how he takes great pride in being from Columbia. Actually owns a baseball academy there. Teach young players the game. Brother helps run that. And good work here by Mott. 4 up and 4 down. Brings in Randy Wynn. The switch hitter Wynn is popped out to short, doubled and scored, and also flied out to center. That's a 97 from Mott. Velocity has been getting better and better.
It's not uncommon for a power guy to start out a little bit down in velocity and increase as the temperatures get warmer. all business, just going out there, challenging people. And tonight, really throwing strikes, Dan.
0-2 is the count. Reyes is now up out of the Cardinal dugout, and that's another strikeout for Mott. Denny's Reyes will start throwing. It was 96, 96, and 97. Not messing around with his strikeouts. The 2 strikeouts that he's had, it's been 6 pitches.
Wow, that ball's got movement too. Moving up and away. There's the one knock. They said a lot of his pitches are straight, but whatever he's doing is get a little movement now. But the velocity's at a higher octane, and that ball up there, you're going to produce swing and misses.
Benji Molina with a fly ball into right. 2 scoreless innings by Jason Mott.
16 total pitches.
5-2 St. Louis.
A 5-2 Cardinal lead as we go to the 9th in San Francisco. Don't forget, coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Jack Clark standing by. They'll take a closer look at tonight's starting pitchers and how they fared. They'll have the plays of the month, and we'll have post-game reaction straight from the Cardinal clubhouse. It's all coming up after the game. For now, we send it back to Dan and Al. Guys?
Okay, Jim, thanks. As we move now to the top of the 9th, and the Cardinals will have Colby Rasmus, followed by Pujols, then Ludwig. But outstanding work here by Jason Mott out of the Cardinal bullpen. 2 scoreless innings.
17 pitches, and only 3 of which were balls. And his efficient 2 innings of work. Franklin warming up.
And a 5-2 lead. Here is Rasmus. Rasmus lines it out to left, but caught.
See an outfielder do that, he loses it in the lights.
They said, though, Fred Lewis going into the series this year, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, had a little bit of a struggle defensively out there in left field this year.
He's committed 3 errors already.
There's not many guys in a cool night that can hit a line drive over the center field wall and pick up that home run like Pujols did earlier in this game. It was not like the strike zone. A couple times he's been having strikes called him that he didn't agree with, and Pujols launches one left field. How far? Oh! His second of the night. Number 16 on the year. Number 15 was in the 4th. This one in the 9th. And it's 6-2 St. Louis.
What were you saying about not many people can a line drive to dead center field or hit one as deep as he does to left field? A hanging breaking ball, and you just can't make that pitch and expect to get away with it. See how far it's going to miss the glove.
Initially, I wasn't sure if it would.
But halfway up.
I'll ask you again, and I understand it's a 5-2 game at that point, now 6-2, but just going into a game, going into a series, a mindset of an opposing team would have to be, are we even going to pitch to this guy?
Well, if your manager elects to pitch to him, you as a pitcher better never throw a hanging breaking ball, or you should be able to pitch around him. The game within the game, I mean, there's already 1 out.
Well, now, do you bring in Franklin?
Well, apparently they're going to do it either way, and it not being a save situation. Franklin hasn't pitched since the 27th. Have the day game tomorrow. Won't have an off day until the 15th of June.
And that's a called 3rd strike. Ludwig didn't like it. 2 outs. Let's take a look at the Home Depot defensive play of the game. Brendan Ryan starting a double play, turned by Schumacher off the bat of Edgar Renteria. Home Depot, more saving, more doing. So 2 outs, Nobody on for Yadier Molina. Sandoval, Lewis, and Uribe all due up for the Giants. Looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth. Cardinals hold on here, a chance to win their 4th consecutive series with a win tomorrow. One-0 pitch.
He's got his average down into the 260s, as he does have a hit tonight, but only a second on this road trip.
How many times does he strike out? He struck out here tonight. You don't see multiple strikeouts usually attached with Yadier Molina. Hits it down the right field line. It's slicing and out of play. One and two. The Pujols looked locked in after the off day yesterday, and maybe, you know, he needed a little breather mentally, physically, and the off day came at a good time for him. That's hit into right center field for a base hit.
Albert almost gets as excited when Yachty does something as when he's doing something.
So a 2-out base hit.
15 hits tonight for the Cardinals. Scored 6 runs.
This is a key guy right here, though, in this lineup. You know, Ludwig, you would hope, would get back into form, and timing not so much an issue here. But Ankiel, when he gets hot, I mean, he can carry this lineup. 0 for 4 right now.
233 his average for the season. Got 3 strikeouts tonight.
One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, and a runner at first. Following the base hit. Outside, 2-1. We're in San Francisco, AT&T Park. Game 2 of this 3-game series, 6-2 St. Louis. 2-1 pitch. Just caught the outside corner. Ankiel struck out twice against Zito. He's on the hook right now if the Giants can't come back. And also struck out in the 8th against Metters. Fouled back to the left of us and into the seats.
Albert, 2 walks and 2 home runs. Strikeout in between. He and Tony having quite the discussion, aren't they?
Two pitch. Talked to John Mozeliak when we were in Milwaukee about Pujols. When do you start thinking about trying to possibly lock him up? And he said, we start thinking about it now, even though that he has 2 years and an option left. We called him an iconic figure in St. Louis. Once in a generation type player. And that's outside. So there's a look at Pujols, and now a baseball fun fact. Catcher Gabby Street wins a $500 prize when he catches a ball dropped 555 feet from the top of the Washington Monument. Really enjoyed this day in baseball history. I know the guys are thinking about using it tomorrow concerning one of the great players ever, in the minor leagues here in San Francisco, Patty O'Yeller.
Yeah, I saw him play one time.
Patty?
Oh, yeah. He was known for his screamers.
And a 1-0 pitch to Barden. A little lazy fly ball into right. And the catch made. So Pujols goes deep. Adds to the lead. It's 6-2. Well, good to see this offense come alive. Didn't know we were going to see that initially in this game. Cardinals with 15 base hits, and they lead it 6-2. Budweiser, the great American lager. And let's take a look at our Budweiser player of the game, Albert Pujols, 2 for 3, 2 home runs, 2 walks. Our Budweiser player of the game. Ryan Franklin will come into the ball game, even though the Cardinals have a 4-run lead.
Franklin earned a save Wednesday at Milwaukee with a 4-out appearance, second save over 1 inning. 12 saves are tied for 4th in the National League and now has 30 career saves. So Kobe stays in the game.
2 runs scored tonight. Now Pujols leads the National League in runs scored. He's at 41, just ahead of Ryan Zimmerman and Raul Ibanez. 1 pitch and 1 out. Thank you very much. It's almost a situation here where you have the closer come in. You might think about tomorrow. Say make him work a little bit. Have him throw some pitches. Get a look at
him.
You're
talking about the Giants.
Yeah.
But you know how efficient Ryan can be. He's appearing for the 20th time. Like I said, he picked up his 12th save on Wednesday. And once again, let me say congratulations to Matt and Liz McClellan. Kyle's older brother taught him pitching with the birth of their first daughter, Ava Mary Ann McClellan. Congratulations.
There's a strike to Lewis. Pujols now tied with Adam Dunn, 3rd place in the National League with 16 home runs. Raul Ibanez with 17. Adrian Gonzalez in that spacious ballpark in San Diego, he has 18. A couple of RBIs tonight for Albert. He's now tied with Dunn in that department with 42. Behind Ibanez.
How about Dunn, though? Late signing and a good one for Washington.
Sure has been. And it's had a pronounced effect on Zimmerman, too, with some protection in that lineup. Fly ball on the right. 2 outs. Well, Ryan Zimmerman's had a very good year, too.
He's a good hitter, good player.
Zimmerman's in the top 7 of RBIs in the National League. So quickly, 2 outs, and here is Uribe, the final hope for the Giants.
This is one of the things that, you know, Boccia can't be happy with Carney Lansford, the hitting coach for the Giants. Last 8 outs have been retired with 21 pitches.
So win tonight, the Cardinals guaranteed at least of a 500 road trip.
It'll be 3-2 with 1 left to play.
There's a line drive past Pujols into right. Franklin comes in, he wastes no time. He throws strikes. When he misses, he doesn't miss by much.
No,
always around the plate.
Throwing 6 pitches, 5 of which are in the strike zone. Sometimes you can throw too many strikes.
Emmanuel Burris. Talked about him being from the inner city of Washington. He took his first ever major league hit, the baseball, and buried it back in Washington next to his best friend, who was killed in a drive-by shooting as he went back with the Giants to Washington last year.
Nice. 0-2. Been upset with the home plate umpire in call number 1, and you'd have to think the Cardinals trying to get the final out of this game. He's down 0-2. He's not going to get much margin from error from the umpire by telling him he has a bad zone.
Reaches for it, back to Franklin on the 0-2. Over to Albert. Cardinals win it 6-2. Pujols with 2 home runs. And they beat Barry Zito 6-2, the final here in game number 2. Post-game show coming up here on Fox Sports Midwest.
Over an impressive Cardinal victory 6-2 over the Giants in San Francisco. Jack Clark and I are standing by to break this one down on Cardinals Live. Jack, your thoughts?
Late offense looked great. Bullpen again, shut him down, and Carpenter gave him a strong start, and they came back and picked one up for their big fella this time.
They certainly did. More on that coming up. Plus, Chris Carpenter on the hill trying to continue his unbelievable start and keep his historic scoreless streak alive. We'll break down Carp's outing. Plus, the month coming to an end, we'll look back at the plays of May and go inside the numbers on the month that was. We'll take you back to San Francisco for player reaction. Give you Tony La Russa's thoughts as well. Thanks for the food, LeGrands, and happy birthday, Manny Ramirez. Put the HCG down and pay attention. Cardinals Live is next.
Welcome to U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
Albert Pujols put on a display during batting practice, put on a display during the game. A pair of home runs, one to center field, the other late in the ball game in the 9th to left field. Multi-home run game number 3 on the season for Pujols, and he helps the Cardinals to a 6-2 victory tonight over the Giants in San Francisco. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside our Fox Sports Midwest studio in St. Louis. It's the late-night edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. Alongside the former Cardinals slugger, Jack Clark, I'm Pat Paris. Coming up, we're going to break down Chris Carpenter's night. Plus, we'll take you back to San Francisco for player reaction, Tony La Russa's thoughts as well, and the plays of the month. But before we get to all that, Jack, we'll discuss Albert Pujols in much more depth coming up during this segment. But we were both commenting on with a left-handed starter like Barry Zito tonight. Tony La Russa seems to be on to something with Brendan Ryan leading things off, but it's Skip Schumacher moving down to the 9th spot, and he really produced tonight.
Well, we talk a lot about that situation with the pitcher batting 8th. This is a perfect example for everybody who doesn't understand how that works. So then you have Skip Schumacher leading off, Brendan Ryan, Duncan, Pujols, Ludwig on down the line, and that's pretty good. And that's pretty tough for that opposing pitcher to find any weaknesses in that armor, so to speak. So, and Skip coming in against a left-hander, battles him. He had 3 hits tonight and kept things going. And Brendan Ryan got up, started the game right away, base hit, first pitch, and kept going. So some offense and some stuff starting to happen for this offense that's been kind of flat, to say the least. Albert picked it up with Ludwig coming back. There's a lot of good positive things happening. That's a good sign because pitching still is the main point of view for this club. Another great outing by Chris Carpenter and gave his team an opportunity, a chance. And for a change, they came and got some offense late, especially with 2 strikes, some great offensive hitting by 3 or 4 guys there from Duncan and Schumacher, and capitalize on it. And it was nice to see because they're going to need that. And it's with the pitching they have, if they can just continue to what you saw tonight, they're going to be extremely tough.
Yeah, it is a good recipe for success for the Cardinals, what you saw tonight. Remember, Cardinal fans, you can get involved in tonight's program as well. Send Jack or myself a question or comment to 432-432. Please include your first name, where you're texting from. Standard messaging rates do apply, and we'll answer those questions a little later on here on Cardinals Live. Let's get right back to San Francisco. A short time ago, our Jim Hayes catching up with Skip Schumacher. He's our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers Player of the Game. Jim?
3 hits, couple RBIs for Skip Schumacher in this one. 2 of the hits in the game-tying RBI came off Barry Zito. You've had good success in your career against Zito. What's the key to a guy like Zito who throws such good breaking stuff?
Not real sure. Sometimes you just luck out in this game and find the holes, and that happened tonight with me. And I think the big hit for me tonight was Nick Stavinoa. I mean, he got us really going, and it's really tough to pinch hit, and he really got us going right there.
How about the job by Carpenter tonight?
Standard Carp, that's just what he does. He's incredible. 6 innings or whatever he did, 7 innings, couple hits. Run or 2 is shocking when they get a run or 2. So, Carpenter's the best guy in baseball when he's healthy, in my opinion, and I'm glad he's on our team.
Good job tonight. Thanks for the chat.
All right, thank you.
Skip Schumacher, we send it back to you, Pat.
All right, Jim, thank you from the field at AT&T Park. Let's go to a view from the booth. We go upstairs there in San Francisco. Dan McLaughlin and Al Hrabosky rejoining us now to kind of tie things up for us, and it was very nice to see that the offense was able to pick up Chris Carpenter and get a win for him.
Well, it was nice, 15 hits, and you take a look at Skip Schumacher, who was in the leadoff spot last night. He's in the 9th spot tonight. Tony La Russa is looking for, some kind of spark offensively, and in that 9th spot in the lineup, he gets it with Schumacher tonight.
Well, he sure did. He has a 3-hit game. He had a 6-game hitting streak stop last night, but it didn't stop him tonight. Where those 3 hits, he had 2 RBIs, and like you said, a big offensive output, 6 runs on 15 hits for the Cardinal bats.
Shows you how good Carpenter can be. He didn't have his best stuff, but still gets a win.
That's right. He battled out there. His team rewarded him, getting the late runs, but he's 3-0 now, and he does have an ERA.
All right. He finally does. Jack and Pat, let's send it back to you.
Guys, thanks very much. We do appreciate it. Let's take a look now at the highlights, and we begin in the bottom of the second. No score, Chris Carpenter on the mound. Juan Uribe out, Fred Lewis on second. Uribe strokes a double to right center. Lewis scores easily on this one. First run, Carp has given up in 24 1/3 innings all season. He falls 1/3 inning shy of Woody Williams' Cardinals record. So it's 1-0. Still 1-0 in the bottom of the third. Randy Wynn. It's a deep shot to left. Chris Duncan back to the wall, and he can't quite get this one, so it is a double for Wynn. Next batter is Yadier's brother, Benji Molina, and Benji promptly rips a double to right center and left center, or right center, and Wynn comes around from second. RBI number 31 for Benji, and the Giants go up 2-0. Let's go back to before the game. Albert unloading in batting practice, putting on a show. Now in the 4th, Pujols leading off, and he smokes a line drive deep to center, just over the wall. 15th homer of the year, cuts the Giants lead to 2-1. 7th straight solo shot for Pujols, though. Bottom of the 6th, still 2-1. Carpenter groove now strikes out Juan Uribe, ending the inning. Carp's 5th strikeout of the night. It'll be the last batter he faces. He does retire the final 7 he sees. Top of the 7th, Cardinals tie the game after a Nick Stavanoa pinch hit single. Skip Schumacher slices a double just fair down the third baseline. Stavanoa scores Schumacher's 15th RBI, and the game is tied at 2. 2 batters later, Chris Duncan up with 2 outs, and he laces a double down the first base line. Skip scores from second. The Cards take a 3-2 lead and put Carpenter in position for the win. Go to the top of the 8th, and an insurance run as Joe Thurston with a 2-out drive deep to right. This one goes off of the wall. Brian Barden scores on what turns out to be a triple for Thurston, and it makes it 4-2 Cardinals as you see Thurston slides in safely. Next batter is Schumacher. He's our player of the game, and he delivers with the 2-out single to bring home Thurston. 5-2, Skip's second RBI of the night. And then, just for good measure, Albert comes up in the top of the 9th to add to his home run total.
Pujols launches one left field. How far? Oh! His second of the night, number 16 on the year.
And just puts an exclamation point on the Cardinals' 6-2 victory. Albert, as Dan mentioned, 16th of the season, but 8th straight solo home run. Like to see some guys ahead of Albert, but then again, if guys get on, they just walk Albert. So you're going to see a lot of those solo jobs. 6-2 is the final. The 15 hits, by the way, 3rd most for the Cardinals this season in the game. Most since April 23rd against the Mets, and that's when the offense was still really going strong, so that was nice to see. And they do make Chris Carpenter the winner as he improves to 3-0 with a solid 6-inning, 6-hit, 2-earned run performance. He strikes out 5, and they outdo duel Barry Zito, and Zito falls to 1-6 on the season. The Cardinals, by the way, they get a lot of bad rap for not being able to hit left-handed pitching, and maybe the average isn't good, but they're now 11-5 against lefty starters in this one, Jack, and that is an impressive number as well, because we continually hear about the Cardinals facing teams. They juggle their starting rotation to get lefties going up against the Cardinals. Well, they're not 11-5, and one guy, it doesn't matter, left-handed, right-handed, Albert Pujols hits everybody if he gets pitches, and tonight he got a couple of pitches, and he made the Giants pay.
Well, like I say, he had a good batting practice and carried that right over to the game. We saw the last couple nights, especially coming from Milwaukee, it looked like he was, just uncomfortable a little bit. But the superstars, the reason why they're superstars is because they adjust quickly, and they make those adjustments, and they catch them, and they fix them real quick. Other guys takes a little bit longer. A little bit longer could be 2, 3, 4, or 5 days. The superstar, the reason why they have that tag is because they fix it right away and make those adjustments and clean it up, and they start getting results and get back in the swing of things. You're absolutely right, Pat. He will not get pitches a hit with men on base, so he's going to take every solo shot he can. But that still is a pick-me-up for the team, and that was a big run. And if that's the way he can get it, we've talked all along. Albert likes to score runs, and he'll find ways, either defensively, offensively, steal a base, some way to push a run across that plate. And if he's got to hit it out of the ballpark to do it, then that's what he'll do. What he does.
Yeah, no coincidence.
He's pretty good at it.
No coincidence either. As you mentioned, they get to San Francisco, and he goes 4 for 7 so far in the series, and it comes not coincidentally when Ryan Ludwig's affording him some protection, now batting in the cleanup spot again after coming out the save list. There's a direct correlation there, certainly.
Well, there's history there. There's history from last year of how that whole thing works, and when that's working together, it's a plus-plus situation. So, and then it trickles up and it trickles down from the leadoff guys, because all of a sudden they're worried about, well, they have to try to keep them guys off so they don't have to pitch to them. And when they do, and then somebody compliments Albert, it's a really good situation to be in. So nice to see that tonight, them adding on late, because they haven't been doing that. And all of a sudden, I don't know where that came from, but it was a really good sign. They picked up one of their pitchers that has been just dealing lights out for them, and so they came and picked him up tonight. And let me tell you, when you start doing that and it's all pitching and no offense, and then your offense that clubhouse comes together pretty good, and all of a sudden, good things could start happening. You could go on a roll that is pretty fun to be part of.
We will continue to talk about the Cardinals' victory tonight, and in particular, as Jack mentioned, Chris Carpenter. They picked him up tonight because he gave up 2 runs. Not too bad. We'll talk more about Carp next.